Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I'm Shae.
I'm Landrey.
I don't know why that came out like that, but
I don't either.
It just did.
It just did. But welcome back. And we are going to be covering some caves out of Appalachia.
Ooh, I was wondering which one you were going to be covering today.
Yeah. I compiled this one pretty quickly, but pretty thoroughly. So
it looks pretty thorough from where I'm sitting.
From where I'm sitting, it's about 3 different caves.
Okay.
We have Mammoth Cave. We have the Bell Witch Cave.
Okay.
And then we have not necessarily a cave, but it's overall of the cave systems, the Devil's Tramping Ground, which was the one that we talked about in our very first episode ever.
If you listen to it.
Yeah, if you've gotten that far. It was only 100 episodes ago.
We've come so far.
Yeah. But those are the 3 we're going to talk about today.
I'm so excited.
I'm pretty excited. I've wanted to cover some Appalachia stuff for all 100 episodes.
Yeah.
But it's such a
deep dive.
Massive deep dive. Without further ado, we can just get into it. Okay. Appalachia, mountains, caves.
Here
Let's
we go.
do it. Let's dive in.
I'm about to dive in.
That was totally in the back of my head. Okay. So there's a stretch of land in the eastern United States older than almost anything else in this country. A winding spine of mountains wrapped in fog, isolation, and centuries of stories. And that is Appalachia.
That sounded very whimsical.
It's something. It's whimsy, depending on what kind of whimsy you're wanting.
Yeesh.
So it's a region of valleys filled with mist that clings to old churches, collapsing cabins, forgotten mining towns, and generations of people who never really left these places behind. The Appalachian mountain range is among the oldest on the earth, formed hundreds of millions of years ago during the Paleozoic era. Paleozoic era.
Paleozoic or Zoic?
Zoic. Paleozoic era. That's right.
Are you sure? Or I could be making that up.
ZOIC, Zoic.
Oh.
You got it. I didn't dinosaur, so.
I didn't dinosaur. I love dinosaurs.
I'm like, I didn't dinosaur. It's giving dinosaur word. I didn't dinosaur.
It's giving Ross Geller.
So it's actually from the ancient continents colliding. That's what made this mountain range, which sounds
like.
Well, Pangea was like, yeah, but it was like the combination rather than ended up separating. Pangea ends up like separating, you know?
Sure, yeah.
But you have to collide to make these mountain formations, right?
Right.
So they were once said to possibly be as tall as the Himalayas before wind, rain, and time have slowly worn them down into the rolling ridges that they are now today. But these mountain ranges are over 2,000 miles, ranging from Alabama to Canada. Do you know that they were that?
No, I did not know they were that long.
I didn't either. I didn't realize it was like, because whenever I was in West Virginia, they were talking about it. And then I was like, wait, but I thought I've heard stories in Kentucky. And they're like, yeah. And then it was somewhere else. I was like, wait, I thought I've heard stories there. And they're like, yeah, it's a whole range. Yeah. And it connects like multiple states.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So the Appalachian Mountains are known for feeling eerie and ancient. The forests are dense enough to swallow sound. Fog hangs low in the hollers. And entire communities remain tucked deep in the valleys where the outside world feels far, far away. Which whenever I visited West Virginia, it definitely felt that way. I definitely felt like we were in like a little crevice of land. Then you drive like a highway and go out to like the next little crevice of land. It definitely felt isolated.
My mom said it felt very isolated when she was driving through.
Yeah. Whenever you're going to like city to city, it definitely felt that way. Long before settlers arrived, there were indigenous people that lived among these mountains. They believed that the land itself carried spirit, memory, and power. Many stories warned against certain places in the woods, certain caves, and certain sounds that would be heard after dark. In the 1700s, colonists pushed westward into Appalachia, forcing native communities from their land and carving isolated settlements deep into the wilderness. Life here became defined by hardship. The mountains protected people, but they also trapped them in. Roads were scarce, and communities were isolated. Families survived through farming, logging, moonshining, and eventually coal mining. Over time, Appalachia became a refuge for people who didn't quite belong anywhere else. People like Scottish immigrants, Civil War deserters, outlaws, miners, and families living miles from their nearest neighbors. Isolation shaped the culture, and so did tragedy. Without doctors, people turned to herbalists and folk healers. Without law enforcement nearby, communities handled justice themselves. And Christianity mixed with old world superstitions created a culture deeply rooted in both faith and fear.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it really truly
but
does.
I didn't realize that it has always been that way.
Yeah, that's like the root of it all is it started this way. And it's just never changed. So it's like one of those places that's just trapped in time.
Yeah.
Which we kind of mentioned a few times in here because it's like you see the modern world around you, kind of. Whenever I was there, and I think the part of Tennessee I was in might have even been, like I went to West Virginia, I've been to Tennessee, and I think all of that is kind of, it all felt very isolated and it didn't feel as modern world. Like the modern world there felt a little bit different than the modern world here, but you could still feel the history and just like the ancient, old feeling of it all. But basically with all of that, that's why Appalachia feels different from anywhere else in America than like I basically just said.
Yeah.
So our first place is the Mammoth Cave. There's something deeply unsettling about places that can make you feel how old and ancient they are. Like when you can walk into somewhere like a castle, an old ruin, an old place, and you can feel the history.
Yeah.
It's so unsettling because you can imagine everything going on around you, but you also just feel it. Like you feel the exhaustion, the weight, the heaviness. And Mammoth Cave is one of those places. So today, Mammoth Cave is the world's largest known cave system with more than over 400 miles of mapped passageways.
Ew.
It also still has new systems being discovered every year as well. Like it's still an ongoing exploration. So there's just more that's going to be added.
Oh my God.
And above the cave system sits Mammoth Cave National Park. It stretches across more than 50,000 acres, and it has rolling forest, rocky ridges, and hidden sinkholes. So basically, the landscape above sounds just as beautiful and dangerous as it is below.
Yeah.
Some of the first people to use and explore these caves were the Native Americans who ventured deep underground here thousands of years ago. Archaeological evidence shows that indigenous people explored and mined Mammoth Cave centuries before recorded American history.
Period.
They harvested gypsum, epsomite, and other minerals from the cave walls for medicinal, ceremonial, and possibly decorative purposes. Mammoth Cave seems to be not only a place that they gathered materials and minerals, it also seems to have been a sacred burial ground type situation.
Oh.
So archaeologists. Why am I struggling with that? I said it perfectly fine like
2 seconds ago.
3 paragraphs ago. Have uncovered deep inside the caves remnants of woven sandals, ancient cane torches, and petroglyphs. They have also found naturally mummified Native American remains buried within the cave system. And the bodies were dressed and enclosed inside stone graves within the caves.
Oh, wow.
One of the discoveries was actually in 1812 when explorers uncovered the remains of an ancient woman who was seated inside of a stone coffin surrounded by deerskins, feathers, ornamental beads, and other ceremonial items. This seemed like an intentional spiritual rite, which is why it kind of leans into the spiritual burial ground situation. But also, a lot of indigenous cultures believed that caves held enormous spiritual significance. Specifically, in Cherokee cosmology, the universe was divided into 3 realms: the upper world, the middle world, and the underworld. The upper world was associated with guiding spirits and peace. The middle world was where humans lived their daily lives and was balanced between the upper and the lower. And then the underworld was something entirely different. It was powerful, chaotic, and super spiritual. So certain places were believed to act as portals between these worlds. Which is where the veil would be thin. So to many tribes, caves like Mammoth were not only geographical and geological formations that were able to be mined for the things that they needed, there were sacred thresholds that could lead you to another realm entirely.
Oh, boy.
So they would have their visions, rituals, contact spirits, things like that. They could do that all in the caves. So if you think about the history of America, before we even start having recorded history, and you're finding pieces of these acts down there, think of how old the caves are and how long they've been being used for ritual sites and things like that.
Yeah.
So visitors travel from all over the world to explore these caves. You can choose now, today, between easy walking tours with lights and handrails, or you can choose to do the intense cave expedition, which forces you to squeeze through narrow stone corridors, crawl through tight passageways, and wade through underground rivers.
Why would anybody want to do that?
A lot of people want to.
That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
I think our problem is we watched Descendants at way too young of an age.
Oh my God. Way too young.
I think that we should
Who
have
let
done
us do that?
I don't know. Because whenever I went to Carlsbad Caverns after that, I was looking at every nook and cranny and crevice, like, where you at?
Dude, is that the movie that we watched before our summer party?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Middle of the day.
There was like 3 of them. We watched all of them. Tainted us right away.
Yeah. That movie was scary.
So as you can imagine, the deeper you go underground, the quieter and darker everything becomes.
Oh, God.
Sound behaves strangely, darkness feels thicker, and it becomes easy to understand why human beings throughout history believed caves were gateways into something unknown.
Into the underworld?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
into hell?
Basically, very easy to understand why.
Yeah.
With this eeriness in mind, it is not hard to believe that a 2009 report from the National Parks Traveler claimed that Mammoth Cave had more than 150 documented paranormal reports, all from credible witnesses, including park rangers, scientists, longtime guides, and experienced explorers.
No.
Well, the crazy part of that is that's like the documented. 150 documented. And from credible sources. So that's not just saying the people who just experienced
Joe blows
something.
off the street. Yeah.
Want to go? Maybe don't. This is a fence one for me.
I'll do a daytime lighted, helmeted, harnessed tour.
Harnessed. So people have described hearing footsteps that echo through empty passages, seeing strange lights move deep in the tunnels, feeling sudden cold spots, and occasionally encountering shadow figures that vanish almost instantly into the darkness.
Oh, cute.
Isn't that so fun?
So cute.
So cute. But oddly enough, beneath the surface lies an ecosystem completely devoid of sunlight and water. In the caves, life happens differently. Creatures adapt not only to darkness, but to silence and isolation, which is very much what happens in Descendants.
Yeah. Listen, if you've never seen that movie, highly, highly recommend.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Listen to this episode and then go watch it. Actually, maybe pause and go watch that movie and then come back.
Yeah.
So more than 130 unique species live inside the Mammoth Cave system.
Holy shit.
And even more odd is that many of them can be found nowhere else on Earth.
Oh, shit. That's cool. This is the kind of stuff I like. The creepy animals that live there.
I like that shit.
I like that shit.
Some of them have no eyes.
Yeah.
Others are ghostly pale, translucent, or still and silent and seem to barely be alive.
Ugly.
Ooh, you are ugly. There are creatures like the albino cavefish, which navigates entirely through vibrations and changes in water pressure. They are almost translucent beneath light, which makes their bodies look extremely eerie and off-putting, almost like their bodies aren't finished. Like when you shine a flashlight light on them, their bodies
What's it called?
The albino cavefish. Other creatures have also adapted this weird, translucent, pale situation. Some of them are salamanders. They move slower down here than they do above surface. And then there's even insects that have adapted to this space as well. And they move with that same sluggish speed and discoloration.
Weird.
Scientists look at these
fools literally have no eyeballs.
Yeah, their bodies look unfinished.
Yeah.
Scientists look at these creatures and see evolution and adaptation to the world that they were put into. But I imagine them and I think it becomes very easy to understand, again, why people believe that the caves were connected to another world, because they don't seem natural at all to me.
No.
And that might be where all of these stories begin.
And it also is terrifying to think of because if scientists are calling it evolution, everything is a product of evolution. So can we devolve? Can a human devolve into a cave-dwelling creature?
Probably, because those probably would have devolved.
Mm-hmm.
Like they probably would have started as the salamanders above ground.
Yeah.
Fishes that are normally in like a fresh water move down and have to regenerate, basically.
Yeah, because they don't just like, I could be wrong, to think that they just get born into that. Like you have to adapt. Like there's got to be some adaptation.
Yeah.
/ mutation.
Something that moved them there.
Yeah.
Or started there and then we moved out.
Yeah.
Depends on what you believe started first, really where.
Yeah, chicken or the egg.
Yeah. So for generations, Appalachian folklore has been filled with legends about things hiding deep within the caves, forests, and isolated hollows. One of the most featured creatures in Cherokee legend is the Raven Mocker. The Raven Mocker is believed to be the most feared and powerful witch. It is a terrifying spirit that flies through the mountains at night, feeding on the life force of the dying. Its name comes from the eerie raven-like cries it makes while circling its victims. According to the legend, the raven mocker hunts the weak and dying in order to steal whatever lifespan they may have remaining. Every year it steals from its victim's life is another year that is added to its own.
Wow.
Very Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
And then there's the smoke wolf. Witnesses describe a wolf-like figure made entirely of smoke or shadow with glowing red or yellow eyes that drifts silently through the trees. It doesn't move like a normal animal. People say it slides across the ground almost weightlessly before dissolving back into the darkness. Most stories surrounding it come from oral accounts passed between hunters, travelers, and loggers deep in the Smoky Mountains and the Blue Ridge. What? And the Blue Ridge Wilderness. That was a tongue twister. Those who claim to have encountered the smoke wolf often describe an overwhelming sense of dread before they ever even see it. The air suddenly feels colder, heavier, and suffocating. And in many stories, the creature appears shortly before tragedy strikes.
Ooh.
Other tales portray it as something even worse. A hunter of souls stalking people who wander too far into the isolated forest. Some believe the smoke wolf is the restless spirit of the land itself, while others claim it's a shadow creature created through witchcraft, sent to punish trespassers who wander where they should not.
I could see that.
Like a protector of the land.
Yeah.
Don't come near my shit.
Don't come out here. You don't belong here.
Yeah, this
You
ain't
know
for you.
better.
This ain't for you.
Yeah.
According to more legend and lore, there are stories that describe pale humanoid creatures that hide within the caves and passageways.
God damn it.
This is the set. You said you love this shit, girl.
No.
No.
Amphibians and animals, not creatures and humans.
Not humanoid creatures? Are you sure?
No.
Well, they're said to be thin with glowing eyes, and they watch as people enter their home from the darkness of caverns before darting back into tunnels where no one can follow them. In 1955, there was a strange event that occurred near Mammoth Cave, and it only fed into the belief of these strange cave-like dwelling beings. The story is known as the 1955 Hopkinsville Goblins encounter.
Goblins.
What a horrible name. I can't read. The encounter itself began on the night of August 21st, 1955, in the tiny farming community of Kelly, Kentucky, just outside of Hopkinsville. That night, members of the Sutton and Taylor families gathered inside a small farmhouse. At some point during the evening, Billy Ray Taylor stepped outside to fetch water from the well when he suddenly noticed a bright, silvery object streaking across the sky before disappearing into a nearby gully. At first, the others brushed his sighting off completely, but before long, the atmosphere around the farmhouse changed, and then creatures appeared. These creatures were described as small beings no more than 3 feet tall, with oversized heads, pointy ears, glowing yellow eyes, and long, thin arms ending in claw-like hands that nearly dragged across the ground.
Aliens!
Let me just say, if I see something that's arms are as long as its body, ending in claw-like talons, almost dragging across the ground, 1, immediately my brain right now is thinking of Roger off American Dad. 2, terrifying. I never want to see anything like that in my life.
Very Roger-like. Very Roger-esque.
Their bodies seemed to have been shimmering with a strange metallic sheen beneath the porch lights, and the way they moved unsettled everyone. They didn't just walk normally, they glided, swayed, and flowed through the darkness. Terrified, the families barricaded themselves inside the farmhouse, while the creatures crept closer, scratching at the doors, peering through the windows, and even climbing onto the roof.
Oh, how about now?
Eventually, the men grabbed rifles and shotguns and opened fire. But according to everyone involved, the creatures never seemed harmed. They would fall backward, disappear briefly into the darkness, then reappear again moments later as though nothing had happened to them. This pattern continued on for hours. By midnight, the families were so terrified that they were able to eventually flee, and they went to the Hopkinsville police station. They were reportedly in a state of complete panic, and law enforcement officers, state troopers, and even military police eventually arrived at the farmhouse to investigate. They found bullet holes in the siding and shattered windows, but there was no sign of the strange intruders themselves. But, according to the families, as soon as all of the authorities left, the creatures returned and silently watched the farmhouse until dawn.
LOL.
That shows intelligence.
Yeah.
What makes this case so strange and believable is that there were about 11 witnesses between the two families.
Oh.
They ranged from adults to children, and every single one of them told the same story, and the story never changed.
And this is like a documented account.
Yes.
Wow.
So it was incredibly consistent and reliable, all of the pieces to it. The families genuinely believed that they were under attack by something real and something dangerous. Skeptics have long argued that the creatures were simply owls misidentified in the dark because because of their glowing eyes and their swooping movements. But others suggest the creatures did not come from the sky at all, but from the ancient cave system beneath Kentucky itself, and that they surfaced briefly from underground before disappearing back into the darkness below.
Period.
It seems the deeper you go into the Appalachian Mountains, the harder it becomes to separate folklore from reality. There's something about these caves, forests, and isolated hollows that feels old and ancient, like something watching quietly from the darkness just beyond the reach of light. And with that, our next story is about the Bell Witch.
Yes.
Okay, so hidden in the rolling hills of Robertson County, Tennessee, sits a dark limestone opening carved into the earth. During the day, it looks peaceful. Trees sway overhead, birds move through the woods, and the river cuts quietly through the countryside. But locals will tell you not to let the calmness fool you, because according to legend, something lives there. And to understand why people still fear this place for more than 200 years, we have to go back to 1804, when John and Lucy Bell packed up their children and left North Carolina for the Tennessee frontier. At the time, Tennessee had only officially been a state for about 8 years. Much of the region was still considered rugged frontier land, where life was isolated, harsh, and deeply self-reliant. Honestly, where I went in Tennessee, it still felt the same way. It was so...
Where'd you go? Pigeon Forge?
Uh-huh. Well, I went between North Carolina, Granite Falls or something like that. And we drove to Pigeon Forge, yeah. I actually did a cave tour in Tennessee.
I did we went to Tennessee, but we went to the Nashville side because we did a Civil War tour through Virginia, Tennessee, wherever else is over there. I'm so geographically challenged, but we did a Civil War thing and went through all the memorials and grave sites and all those things.
Yeah.
So I've been to Tennessee too, and I remember being in Virginia and in Tennessee, driving in between the two, and it just being so nothingness,
but beautiful,
beautiful, gorgeous
landscape.
Trees and tall trees, lots of greenery.
Yeah, very pretty, just nothing out there.
Yeah,
that's how it was. But yeah, we went from North Carolina to Tennessee. I've been to Nashville, but I landed in Nashville, just did Nashville. This was a different trip. We went to Pigeon Forge. I think I did the underwater adventure or whatever. The cave we went in had a huge underwater, we got on boats and went through the cave system.
I would do that.
It was really cool, but
wow.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Ours was a self-guided Civil War tour. Now I wish that I would have been paid more attention.
Yeah.
Because I was middle school or a freshman or something, and I was not excited to go on this trip.
Not interested.
But now when I look back on it, I'm like, that was really fucking cool that we did that. And I don't remember any of it because I was like this the whole time on my phone.
I remember as a kid, Dad and Mantha, every time we went to the coast, we would stop at missions.
Oh, okay.
Old mission sites. Yeah. And so a lot of things that were the Alamo, places that were the Adobe type situation, stone. We would stop at those. But I wish that I would do that stuff now as an adult.
Yeah.
Because I remember it as a kid, parts of it.
Yeah.
But I'm why don't y'all take us on trips like that
now so we can appreciate it?
Yeah. Pay for it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll really love you for that.
I'll really love it.
Anyways, at this time, Tennessee had only officially been a state for 8 years, and much of the region was still considered rugged frontier land where life was isolated, harsh, and deeply self-reliant. Roads were rough and poorly maintained, and many settlements were separated by miles of dense forest and farmland. But like many settlers at the time, the Bell family came searching for opportunity, fertile land, and the promise of a better life. John Bell purchased roughly 320 acres along the south bank of the Red River in what is now known as North Central Tennessee. The land was beautiful and fertile, ideal for farming, and for a while, life there seemed almost idyllic. The Bells built a successful homestead and slowly integrated themselves into the growing frontier community around them. Like most families at the time, they kept busy just by simply surviving. They were farming, hunting, raising children, preparing for ungiving winters, and unpredictable harvests. But by all accounts, the Bell family was highly respected. John Bell was described as a commanding and influential man within the community, known for his discipline, work ethic, and strong personality. His wife Lucy was admired just as much, if not more. She was described as kind, nurturing, intelligent, and deeply devoted to her children. The Bell children were known for being polite, hardworking, intelligent, and well-behaved, but among them, the most talked about was Betsy Bell. Betsy was known throughout the area as bright, sweet, and exceptionally beautiful with striking blue eyes that drew attention from many young men in the community.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ah.
And among these young suitors was a man named Joshua Gardner. Although Betsy was still young, the Bell family approved of Joshua and allowed him to visit the farm occasionally and spend supervised time with her. Noted.
Got it. Leave the door open.
No covered bridges for you. Life for the Bells seemed stable, peaceful, and full of hope until the summer of 1817. That was when the Bell farm began to break. At first, the signs were subtle. One morning, while mist still clung low across the Bell property, John Bell walked out into his cornfield to inspect the crops. The ground was damp beneath his boots, and the only sounds were the soft rustling of corn stalks and the creaking of leather straps as he moved through the rows. Then he saw it. Standing motionless between the stalks was a creature unlike anything he had ever encountered before. From a distance, it appeared almost unnatural, part dog, part rabbit, with enormous glowing eyes fixed directly on him. The creature didn't run when John spotted it, nor did it flinch when he raised his rifle and fired. Instead, it simply vanished into the fog without leaving behind a single trace. John tried convincing himself he had simply misidentified an animal in the early morning haze, but deep down, he knew something about the encounter felt wrong. A few days later, one of John's sons, Drew, spotted what he believed to be a large turkey perched along the fence line. Excited by the possibility of a fresh meat for dinner, he ran inside to grab his gun. But when he approached the creature again, it spread its wings and took flight, revealing that it was not a turkey at all. But instead, it was some enormous unknown bird, unlike anything Drew had ever seen before. Not long after that, Betsy ventured into the woods with her younger siblings, watching them while they played. When wandering through the trees, Betsy later claimed that she saw a young girl in a green dress swinging silently from the branch of a large oak tree. Then there was the Bell family servant, Dean, who repeatedly reported seeing a massive black dog standing along the road leading to the Bell farm late at night. The creature appeared at the same spot and same time every evening, silently watching from the darkness before disappearing. Which is very like hellhound.
Yeah.
At first, the Bell family tried dismissing these incidents as isolated oddities, but before long, the disturbances inside the Bell home began. So everything's happening around the property, and they're kind of like, this is weird. Now it's getting into their house. The family heard knocking along the walls and doors of the cabin. They were sharp and deliberate knocks that sounded less like random creaking wood and more like someone standing outside demanding to be let in. John Bell would step outside holding his rifle and search the property, but there was nothing or anyone ever there. Soon, the sounds escalated. The family began hearing scratching noises beneath the floorboards, footsteps moving across the loft overhead, and the unmistakable sound of rats gnawing against the bedpost late at night. But each morning, there were no bite marks, no droppings, and no evidence of any infestation whatsoever.
Wonderful.
Isn't that great?
So great.
Then came the chains. At night, the Bells claimed that they could hear chains dragging across the floor, stones striking the roof, and strange choking or gulping sounds echoing through the darkness as though something invisible was struggling to breathe inside of the house.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't want to hear anything rasping. Nothing.
No. Gurgling? Ugh.
At first, these events were terrifying, but they still tried to explain it as animals in the walls, the wind, stress, and exhaustion.
Stop lying to yourself.
Until the noises began speaking. The whispers started faintly, barely audible at first, like someone holding a conversation just beyond the edge of hearing. But gradually, the voice became clearer, louder, and more intelligent. It mimicked family members, it called out from outside when everyone would be safely inside together, and it argued with John Bell. It also mocked Lucy. Finally, after a year of unexplained disturbances, the Bell family decided that they should know what was tormenting them.
Period.
One evening, with the lamps burning low inside the cabin and the air thick with tension, John Bell spoke directly into the darkness and asked the entity to identify itself. For a moment, the room fell silent. Then a voice answered from a dark corner where no one was standing. I am Kate. And from that moment forward, the entity became known throughout Robertson County as Kate, or eventually, the Bell Witch. Sometimes the entity claimed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a local woman supposedly wronged by John Bell in a business deal. Other times, it implied it was something far older and far less human altogether. Whatever Kate truly was, the haunting became far more aggressive after the voice revealed itself. And for reasons no one could fully explain, Kate seemed to hate John Bell above everyone else. Which is kind of scary. She's hating like the patriarch
leader.
male of the family.
Yeah.
The entity constantly threatened him, mocked him, and promised repeatedly that she intended to kill him before leaving the property.
Oh, slay.
Day after day, John endured relentless psychological torment while his physical health slowly began deteriorating as well. Apparently, John developed a mysterious affliction that left his tongue stiff and swollen to the point that he could barely eat.
Ugh.
He described the sensation as feeling like wooden sticks were lodged inside of his mouth and pressing outwards towards his cheeks.
Ugh.
Food would literally be pushed back out when he would attempt to swallow.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. While John Bell suffered physically, Betsy Bell became the entity's other primary target. Betsy had only been around 12 years old whenever the haunting first began, and from the earliest days, Kate singled her out repeatedly. The entity allegedly slapped her, pinched her, pulled her hair, and physically assaulted her so severely at times that Betsy would faint from fear and exhaustion. The attacks worsened whenever Joshua Gardner began seriously courting her. Whenever Betsy and Joshua would spend time together, talking on the porch, walking the property, or simply just being beside one another, the attacks would intensify. The slaps would become more violent, bruises would appear across Betsy's body, and at night she would wake up to sharp, stinging pain across her face while Kate hissed at her from the darkness, "Don't you dare."
Ew.
Even Joshua himself reportedly experienced strange stuff. He claimed to hear mocking voices while alone and sometimes felt an overwhelming pressure on his chest as though something was physically resisting his presence whenever he was near Betsy. Eventually, after years of fear and torment, Betsy broke off the engagement entirely. Later accounts claim she admitted she still really loved Joshua, but that Kate would make their lives unbearable if they remained together. By the spring of 1820, the Bell farm had grown quieter than it had been in years. Betsy no longer laughed the same way. The family moved carefully throughout their own home, and although the nightly violence had lessened somewhat, Kate still remained present. Then one evening, while the family gathered together inside the house, Kate randomly announced that she would soon leave, but not forever. She said that she would return in 7 years. And not long afterward, John Bell's condition rapidly worsened. On December 20th of 1820, he was discovered barely conscious in bed. Beside him sat a small vial containing a strange dark liquid that no one had recognized. According to the story, the family tested the substance on their cat that died almost immediately after ingesting it. John Bell himself also died later that same day. And according to witnesses, Kate seemed to have celebrated. Legends claim that her voice echoed through John Bell's funeral service, laughing and singing while openly taking credit for the death of one of the most respected men in Robertson County.
She's a psycho.
There's something.
She's a crazy girl.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Almost like more of a poltergeist than a witch.
Yeah. Something strange.
But there's some kind of physical form.
I would agree. But just as promised, 7 years later, Kate returned. By 1828, the Bell farm appeared peaceful again, and John Bell Jr. had taken over the property and was raising his own family there now. Most locals assumed the haunting had ended whenever she left. But the voice came back. And this time, the entity behaved completely different. For roughly 2 weeks, Kate held long conversations with John Bell Jr., discussing religion, scripture, family matters, and future events. According to accounts, the entity could recite lengthy Bible passages on command and spoke intelligently about theology and prophecy. Unlike before, Kate did not physically attack the family. And then, just as suddenly as she returned, she vanished. Over time, the original Bell property was divided and sold off. The house itself disappeared, but the one part of the land that remained untouched was the cave, a limestone cave near the Red River that would eventually become the center of the Bell Witch legend itself. By the 1930s, more than a century after the Bell family haunting, locals once again began reporting strange activities surrounding the cave. People claimed to hear growls from deep inside the darkness. Others described hearing voices calling out from within, as though something inside the cave was trying to lure people further underground. And some believed that Kate retreated there after leaving the Bell family. Others believe the cave is where she had originated from in the first place. Today, the Bell Witch Cave still sits near Adams, Tennessee, drawing paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, skeptics, and tourists from around the country. The cave itself is something of legend. The further inside you go, the colder and quieter the air becomes. People report hearing animalistic growls, breathing sounds, whispers, children giggling, and a woman's voice calling names from somewhere inside the cave. Other people claim that they have been shoved, grabbed, or touched by unseen hands while exploring the cave. Also deep within the cave lies a pit. It is a narrow vertical shaft descending into darkness, so complete that even powerful flashlights struggle to reveal the bottom of this area. Visitors standing near the opening often report sudden dizziness, panic, nausea, or overwhelming dread. Some claim they hear knocking, noises ringing from deep below. Others swear they've heard whispers calling their names directly from the darkness. Paranormal investigators have described the pit as a portal, either to the spirit world or to something even darker, and some believe that Kate herself emerged from the shaft long before the Bell family ever settled nearby. A psychic visited in 1970 and was reported to have a complete breakdown after standing near the edge, screaming that something furious was staring back at her from below the cave.
Ew.
What is eerie is that the Bell Witch Cave is only one small part of the vast underground network of caves stretching beneath the Appalachian foothills. It has a story that has no answer or resolution, so how do we know if Kate is tied to just that portion of land or cave? Who is to say she can't travel throughout the region by using the tunnel and cave systems that are carved deep beneath the Earth's surface?
Literally.
And who is to say that this is not where she originated? And if she did originate there, what else could have been born within these caves as well? We may never have those answers, but let's move on to another Appalachian location and share some more insight.
I would go to the Bell Witch place.
I would. That
would be interesting.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few ghost shows that go there. And they do get a lot of interesting like EVPs and even just not an EVP, but like where it'll shout out the word.
Yeah.
They'll get a lot of like communication there. And it's kind of creepy.
I can't remember what that's called.
I cannot at the moment either. So lastly, we're going to talk about the Devil's Tramping Ground. Deep in the remote forests of North Carolina, hidden beneath towering pines and miles of winding back roads, there is a strange patch of earth where nothing has grown for longer than anyone can explain. There is no grass, there is no weeds, there is no wildflowers. Tucked away in Chatham County, about an hour south of Greensboro, lies a nearly perfect circle carved into the forest floor. The clearing measures about 40 feet across, and despite countless attempts over the years, nothing seems capable of taking root inside of it. People have tried planting grass, flowers, and even small shrubs, but eventually, everything dies. According to generations of mountain folklore, there's a reason for that, and they say it's because the devil walks there after dark. That is why this place is known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. According to the legend, the devil comes here at night to wander endlessly in circles while planning the suffering and chaos of the world around him. With every step, the ground beneath him is scorched and corrupted, leaving the earth incapable of sustaining life. The region surrounding the site has been inhabited for hundreds of years, and according to local stories, even indigenous tribes supposedly avoided the area long before our settlers arrived. As previously mentioned, many of the early families settling throughout the Appalachian Mountains were Scottish-Irish immigrants. With them, they carried traditions shaped by Celtic mythology, religious superstition, and old world ghost stories. Many believed certain places in nature existed as, quote-unquote, thin places, which we would talk about as veils or portals and things like that. These places were often connected to spirits, supernatural entities, or dark forces. And in old Celtic traditions, one of the most unsettling signs of supernatural activity was a circular path of land where nothing would grow.
Interesting. I looked it up. Very strange. I mean, it is perfectly circular.
Yeah.
Weird.
And nothing can grow in it. So throughout Scotland and Ireland, these formations were sometimes referred to as fairy rings or witch circles, and entering one carelessly could bring sickness, misfortune, madness, or even disappearance. Some legends claim that witches gathered there under moonlight. Others insisted the devil himself danced inside the rings. So when the settlers moved through the Appalachian wilderness and discovered a perfectly round deep clearing in the forest, they saw something evil. They didn't look at it and think, oh, I wonder what that is. They were like, we're going to avoid that.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
And the earliest known newspaper reference to the Devil's Tramping Ground appeared in 1881 and noted that local families had already been telling stories about it for generations.
Wow.
So it means that it's been there for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So a mystery in a crazy place like this, of course, attracted people who were like, well, science can solve it. Science. And in the early 2000s, North Carolina soil scientist Richard Hayes began studying the site in an effort to determine why plant life consistently failed inside this circle.
Okay, what do we find out?
Nothing.
Yeah, period.
He collected samples from within the clearing and from the surrounding forest, and then his findings did seem to be unusual, but were not conclusive. Testing revealed elevated levels of minerals like sodium, copper, and zinc, but the ground showed increased acidity and higher pH balance as well. Anyways, despite all of that, these abnormalities, nothing was shown to be extreme to where nothing should have been able to survive.
Yeah.
Like there was higher levels, but things should have still been able to live there.
Yeah, at least like some grass or some weeds.
He even admitted later, like this proved nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the more convincing theories involves the possibility of repeated fires centuries ago. Some researchers have suggested that the site may have once been used as a ceremonial burn location, which was like an ancient campsite or a place where large fires burned repeatedly over long periods of time, because intense heat can sterilize soil and destroy microorganisms necessary for plant growth. But even after devastating wildfires, vegetation does usually return within decent amount of years.
Yeah, and it's like intensely
luscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also whenever they did the soil testing, there was no clear charcoal deposits or burn evidence or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
So that brings us back to a theory that's more suggested and rooted in fear rather than science. And this theory is that it was intentionally used long ago for rituals or ceremonies tied to witchcraft or occult practices. Another theory, the one I like the most, reaches deeper beneath Appalachia itself, and it routes back to the cave system. Much of the region sits atop limestone formations that have slowly eroded over hundreds of millions of years, creating these vast networks of caves and tunnels, underground rivers, and sinkholes. So maybe the mystery of the Devil's Tramping Ground has less to do with what stands inside of the circle,
but under it,
and more to do with what may be existing beneath it.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that that's my favorite because nothing above ground seems to be adding up.
No.
But by the end of researching Appalachia, one thing becomes very clear. The fear surrounding these mountains was never really about ghosts or cryptids or things lurking in caves. It's something deeper than that, something tied to the land itself. Appalachia is ancient, older than almost anything in North America, and for thousands of years, people have looked at these mountains and felt the same thing: respect, awe, and dread. Appalachia still has hollows untouched by development, forests so dense that they swallow sound, caves that stretch for miles beneath the earth where sunlight has never reached, and due to the vast space and uncharted land, Appalachia has its own set of rules. Ones passed down from generation and legend, ones that you should follow if you want to survive the sprawling hills or deep caves down below. Never whistle at night. If you hear something calling your name outside at night,
no, you didn't.
Don't look too long into the woods after dark. Never follow voices into the forest. If you hear a baby crying in the woods at night, do not go searching for it. Don't leave windows or doors open at night. Never bring things home from abandoned places. Don't disrespect the mountains. If the forest suddenly goes quiet, leave. Don't answer knocks at the door late at night if you aren't expecting someone. And if you see lights in the mountains, don't follow them. That is all I have.
That's a lot of rules.
Oh, there's so many more than that?
I know. I know. Those are the most important ones. What was it called in that one story whenever like the forest goes completely silent? True Blue?
True Blue or something like that, yeah. I know Blue. Blue for sure. I think True Blue or something, yeah.
It doesn't sound right, but it sounds right.
Yeah, it was Blue something.
I always think about that now.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day on TikTok, and it was, this guy was like in the Louisiana, like the like bogs or whatever. He was in all of that.
Yeah.
It was a video and you could hear church bells in the background. And someone in the comments was like, well, the animals and the bugs are still chirping, so you're safe. Because you could hear like the church bells in the background, and he was in the dark
was like, what?
with just a flashlight. And you could hear the church bells, but everyone was like, well, you can still hear the noises around you, so you're fine.
True.
Like that was, they were like, if you didn't hear that, that's when you get scared.
That's when you get worried.
Or there's a video and it's this guy talking on TikTok, and he's like out exploring, and he's walking through, and you can hear all the noises behind him, and then he stops and everything around him goes dead silent. You'd almost think he like edited the volume to be turned off, and then he starts talking and he's like, well, it's time for me to go. And you're like, oh
God.
Okay. Because everything around him is still silent.
Yeah.
With his voice present.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't like that. Well, that's a really good intro to Appalachia.
Yeah. We definitely need to do more because there's so many cryptids above ground as well. Like Mothman is from around there. There's just so many.
I know, I've been wanting to do Mothman recently.
There's a ton attached to Appalachia. And there's a ton of real life, like missing kids cases. There's tons of missing 411
that are like connected to those cave systems.
Yeah, there's a lot. Very, very in depth.
Scary.
Very.
And like Bigfoot sightings are like connected to those cave. What's it? I literally just said the word cave systems as well.
Yeah. Now, there's definitely a lot that is tied to this region of America, which is
It's pretty cool.
Cool and scary at the same time.
Very scary, but cool to know.
Definitely something I want to research and get out there more. I've definitely like done my research and listened to a lot of stories, but trying to compile an episode like this it takes so much more than
just the usual.
Yeah, you've got to really be ready to dive.
Yeah. Well, and you've got to be respectful of the culture too.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
An important piece of it as well.
My ribs are hurting.
That baby's growing in there.
Oh, he's hurting me.
Stretching it all around.
I was like, he is hurting how I'm sitting. I keep moving around.
I know, we need recliners.
At this rate, someone had commented before and was like, y'all need foot pedestal. Now I do, yes.
Yeah.
Now I for sure do.
Yeah, we definitely need something to prop our feet up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so swollen right now. I'm like, my rings, I don't even think I want to take them off.
I'm swollen too. It's quite warm in here.
Yeah, it is very warm. We didn't turn our other ACs on.
I know. Well, I didn't think I was going to need to since I had that one on for so long.
It felt good until I turned it down.
Yeah, it did. It's true. Well, yeah, if you've listened to this long, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there that I am also with child.
Yes, she is.
Which is why Landrey has been carrying this podcast for the last 2 months because I am unwell.
She is very unwell compared to how I was.
Yeah, it's been so opposite.
Yeah.
We are very close together, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That this has happened because we both wanted this so badly, but like was not expecting to do it together. And here we are. But I'm just going through it.
She be going through it.
So
she had the trenches. I had my first trimester was just not that bad. I was tired, I guess.
Yeah, you were sleepy girl, which is fine.
But
I'm like double that.
No, she like feels sick and everything. I didn't have any of that really. So.
It's been miserable, but
it's all worth
alas,
all worth it.
It's all worth it, and we're still doing the things. Landry's just doing it a lot better than I am.
That also is why episodes and episodes and episodes ago, I was like, we have to plan ahead. Because whenever I was going to come back from maternity, she will be giving birth.
Yeah.
So then we have to plan her maternity too. So we originally were going to stick to the structure we have right now. I don't know if that's going to be possible. We're trying, but we're still having to put our episodes out now.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can.
Handling trenches and...
Once I start to feel better, I think that maybe we'll be able to like go back to maybe doing some backlogging. But as of right now, we've been doing a terrible job at that.
Yeah. Well, the best part is she is first trimester trenches. I'm in like second trimester glory. I'm going to be into third trimester trenches and she's going to be in second trimester glory. So we're just going to rotate and then I'll be in newborn phase and she'll be in third trimester. But it's so cool and it's so exciting. And we're going to stick around. We will still be here. We will figure it out. Even if it's like I have to do an episode alone or she has to do an episode alone or call in a friend or bring in a husband. Like we will make it work. We are going to make it work.
Don't worry. It's just been rough. That's why
she's been tired.
Months ago when I was like, we're tired and I need food. Like that was very early.
That was her beginning stages.
That was the beginning stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, if you listened this far, there you go. Surprise.
You probably should have done an episode 100.
Probably.
Our big important episode.
I thought about it. But you know what? 101 works for me.
You know what? That means we're just 100 away from the first one. So it's fine.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're so excited. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, me too. It's fun.
That's all I got. I'm just all the time. I'm like,
Yeah. And I just want to take a nap all the time.
Same. I will also be going to take a nap after this. But I'm excited about being pregnant together. It's like the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
We've both wanted it and it happened. We've both been trying for at least a year each. And it happened at the same time. Which is absolutely crazy work. Yeah. So
it's weird how the world works.
Yeah, we say that in every episode and it is so true.
It is. It's so real.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got.
So,
I really liked the episode though.
Thanks. It was more reading, research. And I know some people don't like that format.
Too bad.
My mother, I told her I was doing an episode like that today. And she was like, I was like, well, some people want research. Some people want stories. Some people want murder.
Yeah,
so
we got something for everybody.
We got to balance it.
We got to spread the love.
Yeah. So it was good. And if you liked it, then feel free to comment, subscribe, all the good things. If you would like to share any of your own stories, recommendations, anything like that, send them to sistersofthestrangepodcast@gmail.com. And I think that might be it.
That's all I got.
Tell Shae you love her and congratulations.
Yay.
All right, well, we will see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.